uncle is a born Detroiter, and he hates Detroit with a passion. Every time I tell him I'm coming down, he gives me the same speech.
It's too dangerous. You might get shot. And whatever you do, don't stop at red lights on 8 Mile at night.
And honestly, I should listen. Or I should have listened. But let's be real, I didn't. And the way this week unfolded, Detroit said, "Oh, you thought you was grown? Bet." Because the second I touched down, I found myself in a situation my uncle would have fainted over. Rooftop bars, alley parties, strangers becoming sidekicks, and me running around the city like I had 9 lives. I didn't just ignore the warnings. I brought strangers with me. But here's the thing. Detroit isn't just chaos. It's history. It's soul. It's my grandma's stories. It's a city that feels like a conversation with my ancestors. So I came here for a week to see if Detroit still had that spirit. And what happened next was a whole movie. So once again, I ignored every warning my uncle gave me. Detroit wasted no time showing me exactly who was in charge. The first person I picked up on this accidental adventure was this girl from Toledo, a complete stranger who somehow became my sidekick for most of the week. We met at a going away party of my cousins, and within hours, we were laughing like we knew each other and exchanged numbers. Not knowing if I would ever see her again, I just wish her the best. That's the thing about Detroit. It introduces you to people who you didn't know could change your life. We met at the Gaffrey Rooftop, and she had just got done with a concert for Young Jeezy, and she was looking extremely classy. The vibes were super nice there. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Looking out the window, you can see the Ambassador Bridge, linking us directly to Canada. That's the duality of the city. It's elegance and grit living in the same breath. One minute you're sipping cocktails, and the next you're in an alleyway dancing to house music with people you've never met before. And somehow it all makes sense. We actually met on a Saturday. So when Sunday rolled around, I did what any responsible adult would do. I went to Aura, and I had just missed their buffet that they have from 1 to 4. So that meant it was time to just turn up to a day party. Me and Toledo met there, and after finding out there was no food, we found a Black-owned spot for lunch. Something supporting the community, and that's a non-negotiable for me. And fixings, that is definitely a must. You have to come down here. They have the best syrup and butter. I know that's not food, but honestly, whatever you get and you put that on is going to be amazing. I would come back and definitely get their chicken and waffles. Their chicken is humongous. So if you're not someone who eats a lot, please don't get more than 1 chicken. After we left fixings, it was time to hit the real highlight, and that was the alley party. That night it felt like a family reunion where I didn't know a single person, but when I tell you, when we rolled up, oh my goodness, it was nothing but love and vibes. There were white people, black people, Asian people. Listen, we had a good time, and even if you did not know how to do the hustle, which if you're coming to Detroit and you don't know how to hustle, I need you to work on that expeditiously because you may feel left out. But if you know the steps, you just hop right in and it's all warm. And let me tell you, the DJs out here were not playing, and that was because it was Techno week. And if you don't know, Techno started in Detroit, okay? And yes, it's the music capital, okay? It's all that. Great vibes. But let me tell you about Monday. Monday definitely humbled me. After hanging out with some friends, later that night, I went to Society. Now let me tell you, Society is downtown, and I hadn't been there in years, right? But at the time, that was the only thing that I could get into because most of the house parties booked up and their tickets were ridiculous. And listen, I'm not saying my uncle was right, but he wasn't wrong. The crowd at Society this night was too young for me. And yes, I did see cop cars when I approached Society, so I should have been warned. But hey, I drove myself there, so I knew in the back of my head I was gonna be able to drive myself back. So setting up a meeting to meet a girl there that I actually didn't even meet at all. She told me the tickets were $20 to get in, and that was a lot cheaper than the house parties. But honestly, in hindsight, I should have just went to the house parties because I was craving house music. But when I finally got in there and the ticket lady told me $30, I finessed my way in there for free. Don't ask me how, just know that I got in there. After looking around and seeing the crowd and getting that heat wave of body heat, I was ready to go. And on my way out, a fight broke out in the girls' bathroom. I was running for the door. I was like, this was not for me. Then once I got outside, cars were getting towed left and right. Feeling like I was stuck trying to turn around and get out of the way. There were police officers everywhere. My spirit tapped me on the shoulder and was like, girl, let's go. And I left. Because loving a city doesn't mean ignoring your intuition. Tuesday came, and that's when everything shifted. That was the day I met Nia. And if you've seen my fairy godmother story from Doras, you know I've always meet one woman who changes the whole trip for me. And in Detroit, that was Mia. She showed me a version of the city I didn't even know existed, refined, grown, intentional. We happened to meet at the locker room in Livernois, which was a suggestion that my aunt gave to me from her best friend. Yes, I arrived there by myself, and yes, I had my mom on the phone with me the whole entire time. When Nia and I bumped in together, she invited me to hang with her crew, and I was like, right on. After dancing and having a good time, we ended up going to the office. This was actually a hidden gym that felt like a private sanctuary. There was live music and minutes from the locker room if you're ever interested, but keep in mind parking is pretty tight. But this definitely is for those who want more of a relaxed, non-chaotic vibe. After meeting Nia, suddenly I wasn't a weekend warrior anymore. Nia had me outside on Tuesday like it was my full-time job. Thursday came around, oh yeah. Nia called me and she was like, we're in there like swimwear. Our next stop was the Asian night market at the Eastern Market. Lights everywhere, food smells pulling you in, families, artists, vendors. Detroit is a mosaic. It's not one thing. It's thousands of cultures layered on top of each other, all beating in the same rhythm. So you know how to get some bubble tea because it's one of my faves. The lines were very long, but it was definitely an experience that I wish I could have in more cities, especially my own. Who knew we were gonna find ping pong? Listen, I haven't played ping pong since I was in high school, and we used to get tested in that. But playing ping pong was something I grew up doing as a child, so this was super fun. Later that day, we ended up going to a movie viewing, which I had never done, and I was just like, you know, sometimes you just meet people and they turn you on to certain things you would never do in your life, and that was Nia, and I was super excited. The movies were very different. They were local Detroit movies. I'm not really sure what the first one was about, but the second one was very intense. So we definitely ended up leaving and heading over to now one of my favorite spots. It's a hidden gym. Guys, go get my new video on the hottest spots to go in Detroit, and shout out Nia. I'm gonna link her Instagram here, so definitely go and follow her. She's awesome. We ended up going to the Vinyl Society. When I tell you this place was like a 10 out of 10, listen to me. The office was definitely giving older vibe for my parents, but this right here, Vinyl Society gave a mixture of 30s to 40 range. It was definitely free to get in, unlike that of the office, but oh my goodness, the drinks, sophisticated, band playing, you had the pianist, a saxophonist, a guitarist, and when they were on break, you had a DJ. When I tell you I would come here again, no lies, we're told. This lounge feels like a curated playlist. Dim lights, the beautiful artwork, the warm tones, the grown folk energy. Listen, thank me later when you come out here. By Friday, the city shifted gears. Literally. The Grand Prix was in town. Engines roaring, crowds cheering, the whole city vibrating. And you may not know this, but I love cars. So that was one of the coolest things that I got to see. Like, it was literally like being an F1 or like NASCAR in the city. Like, oh my goodness, like, it was so amazing. If you've never gone, definitely go. Back in the city came Miss Toledo, and as you know, we were outside again. Dropping my aunt off, it was time to hit Deluxe Flux. I think that's the name of the place. Shout out to my friend who introduced me to this place. It was actually in the alleyway where we were dancing at earlier that week. And it's basically a neo fever dream. There's sticky floors, so be careful what shoes you wear. Arcade art, loud music, really, really good DJs. Whoever DJ'd that night was amazing. And it felt like partying inside a video game with no air. So bring a fan. That was amazing. Later that night, Toledo got very hungry, so we went to the Nationals downtown. And I don't have video footage of this, but we ended up hearing music, and this guy, after getting lost, directed us the right way. And when we got there, there's this lady just on this drum, just like, it was giving like very much Middle Eastern vibes. I look over to the car and there are these men who are like recording, and all of a sudden I was like, this reminds me of, I think it's Dakar. I think it's a dance. I know that it's mainly attributed to Palestinians. But listen, I wanted to give it a try. Now, those two went in and ordered some chili dogs, but I stayed outside because the vibes were vibing. And you know, it was still early. Okay, at least for me. So we were out there. I was trying to do the dance, like where they have the cane in their hand and then they drop it low. I don't think I was doing it quite well, and I've never seen a girl and a guy do it. I've either seen girls do it or guys do it. But anyways, come to find out the guys were from Yemen, here from a wedding, and listen, it was all love. Assalamu alaikum. It was like, Salaikum salam. I was like, shukran. Yeah, that was a whole vibe. Nobody thought I knew how to do the dance, but listen, baby, I'm international. I went to Michigan Central. This place has been told to me as stories as a young girl. Like, my grandma used to tell me stories about Michigan Central ever since I was a little girl. This time inside, walking through the building felt like walking through my grandma's memories. It was so beautiful, and to hear the stories of how this place had been abandoned since the 80s and recently had been revitalized by the Ford Foundation was amazing to hear. I was so happy I had the opportunity to step basically into the past to see what my grandma saw as a young girl. My grandma was born in the 30s and she's still alive, and she would tell me about being put on the train back to Missouri, which was the South, during segregation, and being pinned to show that she was a child traveling by herself, but also having to navigate being in a world that was segregated, seeing the Black only signs or the white only signs, and just understanding that from a child's perspective. I had so much empathy for my grandma to have to go through that experience, and going back and forth from the South to the North, and how you have to be able to be cognizant of the things that are not always going to be the same where you go, and being cognizant of your behavior, your language. And doing that as a child definitely took me back, and I want to take her back there too, to potentially relive some of her happy moments, because she did tell me she played there as a girl, and I was looking for the stairs she was sliding on. I said, Grandma, where are these stairs? But with only having an hour to explore, it wasn't exactly enough. And then there was a wedding there. So, man, if I could have been able to crash that wedding, I definitely would have. The doctors' names on there, knowing that this was some type of either Middle Eastern or Indian wedding, I wanted to be a fly on the wall. 10 out of 10, highly recommend you coming to Central Station. But after we left the Central Station, I headed back over to the Eastern Market, waiting to meet Toledo. And while I was waiting to meet her, I happened to run into a club that I was told about by my aunt. Now, definitely giving older vibes, kind of like The Office, but it's right across the street from the Eastern Market. And they have live music, they have a grill where they're grilling chicken, ribs. Definitely go check out Bert's if you enjoy an older crowd. Relaxed vibes. And once we met up, we ended up hitting up this distillery that we found. It's not too far from the Shadow Gallery, but it's more inward in the Eastern Market. It was very interesting, not bad. The bartenders definitely will give you a little tipsy with their free shots, but it was definitely a vibe. I think coming back during the week would be more interesting. The distillery where they do their gin, whiskey, bourbon is just across the street. So if you're looking to go to the distillery to see where the liquor is being processed, go check that out. I think their prices are pretty affordable, and it was free to just walk in because it's the bar. So definitely put that on your list if you like to drink. Now we've made it to Sunday, and it was super emotional to me because one of my college friends was having his fashion show. I've never actually been to a fashion show, so I felt very, very fancy. But it was on the west side of Detroit, so that was a sacrifice to go over there because I definitely don't know my way around there. The show was at Priva, and the brand is called Nightlife. I will tag them here if you'd like to check out their merch. This definitely was a side quest, but the night ended. His line was super nice, and shout out to all the designers who participated in that. Priva is also a nightclub, but just be mindful, you do have to pay to get in and park your cars, so that was a little different. But I'm definitely gonna have to snag one of his two-piece outfits. I did not know he did girls and guys clothing, so that was super amazing. By the end of the night, I had to say my goodbyes to Nia, and so we met at Scores, also on the west side. And let me tell you, the food looked amazing here. I got there too late to get food, but listen, I will be coming back. And even though I didn't know Nia for very long, the days that we spent together were amazing. And it didn't seem like a goodbye. It seemed like a see you later, because this was not the end of our adventures. We still talk to this day. 7 days in Detroit taught me something my uncle could never. This city isn't just danger and warnings. It's history, it's culture, it's soul. It's my grandmother's laughter echoing through a train station that she had to navigate alone. Detroit isn't misery anymore. It's a city that took longer to rebuild than it did to build the first time. And it's worth the wait. If you ever felt like a city had your back, that's Detroit for me. So let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and would you come to Detroit? Until next time, bye.